Welcome to John C. Maxwell's special online event where you'll discover what every successful network marketer does that sparks massive growth in their business and in their life. Hi, I'm Meredith Sims, President of John's Consumer Division. I'm so excited to be here with you for this really crucial, incredibly impactful time with John and network marketing leaders. John is a friend of mine and he's a friend of yours when it comes to answering this question: how do you make tomorrow better than today? John's been teaching leadership and personal growth principles for over 40 years, and today he's going to share with you the one thing that will change everything, the one thing that will accelerate your success more than anything else. Do you know what it is? No, it's not a bigger prospect list or a new product. It's simple, but John says it's the one thing he knows is true, and it's your personal growth. I know it seems like an easy answer, but I'll tell you this: it takes practice, practice, practice to live it out daily. And there's no one that knows how to do this and teach you this better than Dr. John C. Maxwell. Here's what I know. John's best-selling book, The 15 Laws of Growth, was a turning point for me as a leader because it categorized the areas of my life that needed serious growth if I was going to succeed in life and grow beyond my wildest dreams. If we as leaders can understand and take action on these 15 laws, then our potential is unlimited. John has spent hundreds of hours developing new content based on the 15 laws. Today, you are going to hear John teach a brand new lesson on one of the most impactful laws of growth, and you're going to learn key principles you'll need every day to be consistent to reach your peak potential. He is intentionally growing every day, making every day better, and he desires to help you do the same. And get this, you won't hear it from just John. Today, you'll also learn from top industry leaders on their life-changing takeaways from John's incredible laws of growth. Today is about you. You're here today because you want to expand your business, reach your peak potential, and push the limits of success in your network marketing career. You want to answer the question: how do I grow my business and reach the top of my company? The answer is growth every day. As former editor-in-chief of Success from Home magazine, I've interviewed hundreds of leaders in the network marketing industry, and I know you have the desire to reach financial freedom, spend more time with your family, get your time back, impact people, and truly gain independence. But how do you do it? Better, how do you do it more effectively? How do you stay relevant and keep growing so you attain what you want most out of life? We'll spend about an hour together today with John answering that question. And I know you'll step away feeling energized and equipped with the best next step you need to grab a hold of your potential and experience massive growth. Don't check out, don't sit back, take notes, be engaged, and start to see the incredible possibilities that are out there for you when you act on this one thing: growth, your growth. And by the way, you'll want to watch this special event from start to finish because John and all of the network marketing leaders have come together to get you a very special gift they want to give everyone learning with them today. Now, how's that for an incentive to pay attention? John and I will share more with you at the end of the event, so stick around. All right, enjoy John, his jokes, his heart, and most importantly, his wise words. I'll catch you after the seminar. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage Dr. John C. Maxwell.
Thank you. Wow, thank you very much. Good morning. I have good people around me, and they really allow me to do what I can do well, and where I am today in my life is because of the people I have around me. Good team. That's what you wanted, a good team. Good develop people around you. And Jamie and Meredith, of course, I have Mark, my CEO, right down here on the front, and some of the key people of our organization. I want to thank them because they've done all the work. I'm just kind of hanging with you. I'm going to teach you today. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to grow. Gosh, I know what's happening. I know what's going to happen. It's going to be good. This is going to be good. It's, you know, I didn't say it's going to be great. So it's going to be good. There's a difference. For you direct marketers, everything's great. So I'm going to settle you down real quick and kind of level you out a little bit, okay? It's going to be good. You see, nothing is great until a life is changed. You do understand that. So you can have a good conference, you can't have a great conference. Great is only what they do with it after the conference. You can have a good book, but the book becomes great when it changes the life. And so many times, we count our victories before we have victories. We count our victories because we just look good when we walk across the stage. And everybody clapped, and everybody was happy, and we thought, oh my gosh, what a good conference. Everything escalates and gets better when the people get better. And if the people don't get better, it wasn't that good. And if the people don't change, if people don't grow, if the people just aren't reproducing, it never becomes great. See, leaders understand greatness begins with them and what they teach and inspire their people to be and do. But the result of greatness is in the proof of the people. It's in the people. So if you say, well, I'm a great leader, well, how many great leaders have you reproduced? So you're not a great leader because you have followers. You're a great leader because you reproduce leaders. And so this is going to be a huge day. I promise you, you're going to fill pages of notes. Not just a page or two. I don't know who does that, but you're going to fill pages of notes. You're going to have to you're going to have to go straight from here to a massage therapist. You're going to say, just work the hand, work the hand. We just work the hand. I've been taking a lot of notes because one of the things we do at the John Maxwell Company, it's a reputation of mine to give you more than you can handle. You with me? Do you ever go to hear somebody speak and you just kind of sit there for a while and kind of hope for a miracle? You know what I mean? Just say, I know it will sometime get better. And you know, and have you ever sometimes just walk up and say, you know what, you're not very good. Let me give you a couple thoughts here. Just say these, it'll help you. It'll take you to a new level, huh? Now, the reason I say that is we work very hard. You're here by invitation. I mean, we do these things quite a bit. We've got to pack this thing up many, many times. We just said, no, we want the right people in the room. We want the right people in the room because then it reproduces itself. So I worked hard. I'm going to do the laws of growth. I'm curious, how many of you have the book, 15 Laws of Growth? Raise your hand. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. That's very good. You notice I didn't ask how many of you had read it? I'm delighted today to talk to you about some of the laws of leadership. And the first one I want to talk to you about is truly the first one I should talk to you about. Now, there are 15 of them, but you have to understand there's one that I think is foundational for the other 14. Not more important, but foundational, and that's the law of intentionality. And that's where we're going to begin today. The law of intentionality just basically says growth is the only guarantee that tomorrow is going to get better. Oh, isn't that good? If you're going to grow, and if I'm going to grow, we're going to grow intentionally. Now, I'm talking to leaders today. I love talking to people that lead many people. And to be honest with you, if I could just literally come off the stage and I could get real close to you, and we could have kind of like a one-on-one conversation. There are two questions that I would ask you, and the two questions I'm about to ask you will really determine how successful you're going to be in this business, without any question. These are the two questions. It's not like there's 3 or there's 4 or there's 7. There's 2, okay? Just trust me on this. I'm an old man. I know this. I've been around the block a few times. And there are 2 questions that if you can answer in a positive way about yourself, you're going to be very successful. And if you really cannot answer that in a positive way, to be honest with you, you're not going to be near as successful as you would like to be. The first question is very simple. What are you doing to develop yourself? And if you say, my gosh, John, I'll tell you right now, I'm doing a lot to develop myself. I've got a personal growth plan, and I'm intentional in this, and I'm doing this on a daily deal. If you could say that to me, then I'd say, hey, we're in good shape here. We're in good shape, because that's the key. You know, what are you doing to develop yourself? And by the way, the reason that's first is not because you want to be selfish. It's kind of like almost a selfish question. Person says, well, why do I start with myself? The reason you start with yourself is because you cannot give what you do not have. So you better start with yourself. Because if you're leading others and have nothing to give them, nothing to share with them, nothing to teach them, then I can promise you, you'll never be what you want to be as a leader. And I can promise you that after 40 years of personal growth, the secret of any success, if I've had any success at all, the secret of that success has been personal growth in my life. And growth has literally placed me where I am. So what are you doing to develop yourself? It's a huge question. And the 15 laws of personal growth, basically these laws are all about developing yourself and developing the second question, what are you doing to develop others? You see, on the first question, you're foundational for your future. The second question is all about compounding, multiplication. That's where you build a huge business, when you know how to develop other people. And what we have to understand about the law of intentionality is that you cannot develop yourself and you cannot develop your people unless you're intentional. And I discovered that in my 20s when I sat down and had breakfast with a guy named Kurt Kampmeyer at the Holiday Inn in Lancaster, Ohio, and he asked me the question, John, do you have a plan for personal growth in your life? Didn't have a plan. Didn't know I was supposed to have a plan. Nobody ever told me I was supposed to have a plan. I graduated. I was working hard, doing my very best to reach my potential. But nobody ever walked in my life until Kurt Kampmeyer did and said, John, do you have a plan for personal growth in your life? And I didn't have one. I was embarrassed. I thought back then I had to have answers. And so I acted as if I did, and that didn't really work very long. I was kind of like a plane circling an airfield trying to come in for a landing. Found I just shut up and landed that plane. And he looked at me, and I'll never forget, he said, you don't have a plan, do you? And I said, no, I don't have a plan. And then he said to me, John, growth is not automatic. If you're going to have to grow, you're going to have to grow on purpose. That day, my life was changed. What Kurt was saying is, if you're going to grow, you have to be intentional. I mean, it starts with me. So look at the person you're seated beside, and just say that this will kind of be like a get acquainted time with him. Just look at him and say, you really need to improve. Go ahead and tell me that. You really need. Now, wasn't that fun? Wasn't that fun? Isn't it fun just look at somebody and say, you know what, you really need to improve? Yeah, it just rolls naturally off the tongue. Now look right back at him and say, I need to improve. Now you said that with a lot less enthusiasm. I mean, did you hear that? I mean, when I said, tell the other person you need to improve, I mean, it was loud. You need to improve. Yeah, well, yeah. I need to improve. I need to improve. Now, the problem is we have what I call growth gaps. The reason that we're not intentional in our growing is there are just some gaps that keep us from getting to where we need to go. And I'm going to give you about a half a dozen of them really quickly. The first one is the assumption gap. And the assumption gap just basically says, or is I assume that I'll grow automatically. You see, most people, they live by assumption. 99% of people today are assuming, just assuming, that somehow they'll get better. Very sad, folks, very sad. Because let me tell you something about assumption. Assumption is a huge disappointment in life. You show me a person that assumes, and I'll show you a person that almost daily is disappointed. So, the first gap is a gap that leaves many people short, and that's just the pure assumption gap. The second one is the knowledge gap. And the knowledge gap is basically, I don't know how to grow. And we've all been there. In other words, okay, I know that I need to be intentional in my growth, but I really don't know how to grow. I've been there. Now, I brought something with me today that's very special. It's a kit, and I'm just so pleased to have this, because this kit is very important to me. Now it cost me $799, and I got this kit. I got this kit back in the 1970s. Okay, and this was my first personal growth kit. It's Dynamics of Personal Goal Setting by Paul Meyer, Personal Success Planner, and I was so excited. It cost $799. Now you have to understand, I made about $800 a month. So get the picture. It took me 6 months to buy this kit. I saved up. We didn't have credit cards back then, and I just saved up and worked hard, and it took me 6 months before I had enough cash to buy this kit. And I was so excited when I got it, and I mean, I opened it all up, and this is just amazing. You'll just see some things here that just crack you up. It had, for some of you young people who've never seen this before, they're called cassette tapes. And I remember taking the first cassette tape out, put it on my little cassette player, opening this up. Oh my gosh, this was so wonderful. That wasn't. They had page by page plans. I went to the plans and listened to the tapes, and go through the plans, listen to the tape, go to the plans, listen to the tape. This is my first growth experience. And the ROI on this $799 kit, it's worth millions of dollars to me. Yeah, you heard me right. Millions of dollars. And experiences, and a lifetime of growth. And what's interesting is, now here's what I want you to hear. The value of this kit, the content was good, but that wasn't the value. The content was good. But as I look back now, I say, what made this so special? What made this so special is very simple. This is the kit that got me started. Hear me out. The value of what you do for people is not so much what you give to them as much as it challenges them to get started. Getting started is absolutely the key to life. And by the time I finished going through this personal growth kit, by the time that was all finished, I had 6 months of day in, day out, personal growth. And what it did is it developed a habit in my life. And by the time I finished with that kit, now I'm used to spending time every day in personal growth. It got me started. I mean, this is worth this whole lesson if you could just get this. The reason I'm so passionate about personal growth is personal growth keeps me prepared. In other words, if I'm continually growing, I'm continually developing myself, and I'm continually learning, and I'm continually doing new things and going to another step higher, can I tell you what that is? That constant growth is the preparation for the opportunity. So when the opportunity comes, here's the way. You don't go into an opportunity, you grow into an opportunity. And so I'm passionate about personal growth because for that person who says, wow, I had an opportunity, I wasn't ready. If you're growing, you're always ready. Because after I intentionally started growing, I made a commitment to grow as a leader. I started writing, I became an author. I developed growth resources for other people. I founded my first company. I began training conferences. Everything I can think of that has ever been good in my life was a result of the fact that I started personal growth in my life. I know I'm known for leadership. I understand that. But my passion in life, more than anything else, is personal growth. Because if you grow personally, you can be a great leader. But if you don't grow personally, you can't be a good leader. Everything in life that you're ever going to want is based upon your ability to develop yourself. So Kurt Kampmeyer said, John, you can't just accidentally grow. You got to grow on purpose. And so I started. And I got to thinking yesterday when I was getting ready to, kind of my last preparation for this lesson, I got started, and guess what? When I got started, let me tell you what I didn't have. I didn't have experience. I didn't have knowledge. I did not have a model. I did not have a mentor. I did not have a plan. I did not have a fellow traveler. I did not have resources. I did not have money. I did not have a growth environment. But I got started. You don't stop or not start because of what you don't have. You don't start because you don't realize yet that the fruit of everything good in life begins with a challenge. There's nothing easy in life, worthwhile in life. Everything is uphill that's worthwhile. And it's not going to come to you, and it's not going to fall in your lap, and it's not going to be something that, oh my God, it just was so simple. It's always going to be difficult. So how do we go from growth doesn't just happen to making growth happen? Now, here's the practice, and you just don't want to miss this, because I'm going to give you some stuff right now. This is pure gold, okay? This is so good, I hardly want to give it to you. And the reason I hardly want to give it to you is because it's so good, I don't want you to misuse it. So look at the person you're sitting beside and just say, take notes and don't mess up. Just tell them that. Just take notes and don't mess up, okay? I'm going to give you an intentional growth plan right now. It's just so simple. Let's go. Okay, here's my intentional growth plan. Number one, make a commitment to intentionally grow. That's where it starts. You say, well, John, that seems really simple. Make a commitment to intentionally grow. Guess what? It's really simple. But can I tell you something? When Kurt Kampmeyer looked across that breakfast table and told me that if I was going to grow, I was going to have to grow on purpose. And I looked at him and I said, I'm going to start growing on purpose. Something happened within me. Something happened within me that just changed my life. It was just a simple commitment. Nothing that I thought at that time was going to change my life, but it was just a simple commitment. I'm going to grow. I'm going to grow intentionally, and it starts there. I want everyone of you. I want everyone for yourself, for the people that you lead. Make that commitment to intentionally grow. Number two, make that commitment public. A commitment that is not public is worthless. Because let me tell you something. We all have a tendency to stray. We all have a tendency to give up. We all have a tendency to get off course. Come on. But the moment that we start making it public, I can remember I couldn't afford that kit that I showed you. And I said, can you give me 30 minutes? And I lived where we were having our breakfast was close to the house. I said, I've got to show this. I got to take this and show it to Margaret. And I said, I ran home and I got to the kitchen table and I said, we can't afford this. It's $799. And we can't afford it. And so I've got to take it right back. But I just want to show you what we're going to save our money for. And we got it all out and got those cassettes out, and we looked at the material real quickly, and I put it back in the box, and I went back there. But then I told my friends, I began to tell my friends, guess what? I've made a commitment to personally grow. There's something beautiful about a shared commitment. A shared commitment becomes a strong commitment. Number three. Identify the areas that you want to grow personally in. Identify them. In other words, sit down and say, okay, where am I going to grow specifically? Now, I'm going to help you here. When you start identifying the areas that you're going to grow in, it should be at least 2 and no more than 5. 5's probably a little heavy, but it has to be at least 2. You say, oh, how about just focusing on 1? Let me tell you why. You want to grow in an area of choice, and you want to grow in an area of skill. So that's 2. So when I talk about an area of choice, I'm talking about maybe your attitude. That's a choice, isn't it? So I want to grow in an area of choice. Maybe it's discipline. And I want to grow in an area of skill. So for me, I started off with attitude and speaking, because I was speaking. I was a pastor. I want to be a better communicator. So I said, okay, speaking, that's a skill. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on my attitude. So identify what are the 2 areas at least that you're going to grow in. And then number 4, invest 1 hour a day in those 2 areas. Every day, including Sundays. Every day, 7 days, 7/24, 7 days. Every day. Okay, and when you spend that hour, I won't even tell you how to spend the hour. You spend the hour this way. Here's the way it works. Preparation, practice, reflection. Preparation, practice, reflection. Preparation, practice, reflection. Preparation, practice, reflection. You do it every day. Whether it's your choice or whether it's your skill. You prepare a little bit, practice a little bit, reflect a little bit. Every day. You're going to find this is just huge for your life. Now, while I was doing all of that preparation, practice, reflection, while I was doing all that on my speaking, I was starting to go observe communicators. And when I would listen to somebody speak, I wouldn't listen too much about what the subject was. It really didn't matter. I asked myself one question the whole time I would listen to them speak, and the question was, are they connecting with their audience? And I would write down, if they were not connecting, why they were not, and if they were connecting, why they were. In about 2 years, I became a master in understanding how to connect with an audience. Because I studied it, and I would listen, and I would watch, and I would observe, and I would come away and say, they did 3 things that were just powerful. Okay, I got to go practice that. Okay, prepare, practice, reflect. And I would just work on that. And this is the cycle that I work, okay? Number 5, invest 1 hour a week on reflection and writing on what you're learning. To take an hour every week and say, okay, for the last 7 days, this is what I've been practicing, this is what I've been preparing for, this is what I've been reflecting, and start that. Now let me tell you the secret on this. Because I'm kind of now talking about writing, I'm talking about maybe journaling a little bit. Let me tell you something. Don't try to journal a lot. Start with jotting. Jot before you journal. See, I jot every day. I don't journal every day, but I jot every day. 4 or 5 words. Oh my gosh, they're just mental kicks for me. Okay. And then at the end of the week, you may have like 12 jots down. You with me? And you go get those jots, and you say, okay, now I'm going to spend 35 minutes. I'm going to start writing. What did that mean to me? Just jot and then journal. And then number 7, this is huge. No, I'm sorry. And then number 6, share your growth with someone. Every week, find somebody that you can share your growth with. And let me tell you how this works. You sit down and say, oh, I'm going to tell you what I'm learning. I want to tell you how I'm growing. Now, here's how this works. This is beautiful. When you share your growth with someone, if they're happy, do it the next week. You with me? Oh, they're happy. Well, let me share. Can I share with you now? See, so if they're happy, keep sharing. If they're not happy, start moving. Don't ever spend time with people that aren't thrilled with your progress. The friends I dropped in my early years, were those people that weren't thrilled with my progress. Are you with me? They weren't thrilled at all with my progress. Those are the ones I left behind. I got some new friends. That's what you got to do. Because let me tell you something. If you become intentional in your growth, you'll outgrow almost everybody you know. Everything I have today is because I have good people around me. Everything. You want to talk about any area of my success in my life, and what I'll do immediately is I'll give you the names of people. The names of people who are gifted better than I am, who complete me, who complement me, who add value to me, who make a difference for me, and they do it with such consistency, they do it with such care, they do it with such kindness, they do it with such love, and they just do it, and they do it all the time, and it's humbling to me, I mean, this is a perfect example. When I walked out to teach you today, this is the first time I was here to teach. I did nothing. I didn't set up any cameras. I didn't do anything. I didn't do any email. I didn't do anything. They just said, John, could you get ready to teach the 15 laws? So I've been over there writing and teaching the 15, working on it, upgrading, doing everything else. But everything that you're enjoying today, outside of this teaching, it's been done by others. And I can tell you right now, when I die, they can put on my tombstone, a whole bunch of people made that man. Because they have. And I'm grateful. And I wouldn't be near where I am today if it was not for them. And in fact, Meredith Sims, who is behind all of the online courses and the digital projects, I mean, this lady has come into our life and she's just absolutely taken us to a level that couldn't get there without her. Now, let me tell you something. Same teaching, same ability to teach, same giftedness, same material, same content, but all of a sudden you get somebody that's really good. And what do? They multiply you. And you say, man, I didn't know I was that good. They said, you weren't. You weren't. You just have to have somebody that knew how to take what you had and multiply it and take it up to, they're elevator people. They take you to a higher level. I got a whole bunch of people, they're elevator people. I get on the elevator, they just push numbers and I just keep going higher. And she's one of them. And in a moment I want to throw this back to her because I just value her, and I not only value her, but I value what she does not for me, but what she does for you. And she'll talk about an online class that we're doing that's just very, very exciting to me. And you got to understand also that, I mean, this is just one law. My gosh, there are 15 of them. And so you say, wow, that was kind of helpful. I learned something from that. Well, here's the thought. If you learn really good from one, maybe you ought to do the other 14. Just a thought. Don't want to expand your mind too great. You know what I mean? But it's just a thought. And she's also going to come out, she's going to offer you something really special, just a scholarship, something for you, and I'm excited about this because everything we're doing is to add value to you. And so, would you do me a favor? Just do me a favor. I hope by the end of this day you'll love and appreciate her like I do. But would you just give Meredith a good hand for what she's done today?
Okay, please tell me I'm not the only one with like 8 pages of notes. And we're not even through with what we have for you today. Like John said, you have to buy in on the dream and buy in on the action. These next network marketing leaders are a great example of people who don't just